Regret doesn't show up all at once. It builds slowly, year by year, in every moment that you silence your intuition or shrink your dreams. You push it down. You tell yourself, now's not the right time. And one day you look up and you realize you've been waiting your whole life to start living. But it doesn't have to be that way. Give me 12 minutes and I will show you how to stop waiting and start living. Let's start by talking about the high cost of delay. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had that sinking feeling that life is moving, but you're not? Like the years are passing and you're stuck in some kind of holding pattern, waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, or the perfect version of yourself to finally begin. I know that feeling intimately. I used to believe that once I achieved enough, once I was established, once things calmed down, then I could really start living. I told myself, once the kids are older, once the business is more stable, once I'm less tired, then I'll travel more, I'll create more, I'll take that leap. But here's what I learned. Someday is a lie we tell ourselves to avoid discomfort. And while we wait, life doesn't pause, it just keeps going. There's this quote I love by philosopher Paulo Coelho. One day you'll wake up and there won't be any more time to do the things you've always wanted. Do it now. That hit me. Most people, especially high-achieving, responsible people, they don't set out to live a life of regret. They just get busy. They keep putting out fires, ticking off to-do lists, showing up for everyone else, and without realizing it, they start to drift away from their purpose and their creativity and their joy. And if you're thinking, I don't have time for anything more right now, I want to challenge that. The average adult spends between 3 to 4.5 hours per day on their phone. That adds up to over 8 years of your life gone. Not building your dreams, not connecting with your values, just disappearing into the scroll. Tiny moments, 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, that just disappear. So it's not that you don't have time, it's that your time is being quietly stolen. And once you start noticing where it's going, you can take it back. I remember standing in my kitchen one day, completely exhausted, scrolling through my phone while reheating some leftovers. And I caught a glimpse of myself in the reflection of my kitchen window, half present, totally drained. And I thought, is this it? Is this really who I want to be? That moment woke me up because I realized I wasn't stuck. I was just disconnected. I was so busy doing life, I had forgotten how to live it. So if you've ever looked around and thought, is this really it? If you have ever had that quiet, uncomfortable ache in your chest that says, there's more for me than this, you're not broken. You're not too late, and you're definitely not alone. You're just waking up, and that's where everything begins. Okay, now I want to move on and talk about the 3 hidden time traps that steal your life. Most people aren't wasting their lives because they're lazy. They're wasting them because they are caught in invisible traps, patterns that look harmless, even responsible, but are quietly draining their energy and clarity and time. These traps are sneaky, they are socially accepted, and if you're not paying attention, you can spend decades in them. Let's break down the top 3 and, more importantly, how to spot them in your own life. So time trap number 1 is the productivity illusion. I lived in this trap for years and I was good at it. My to-do lists were color-coded, my calendar was booked to the minute, I was high-functioning, high-achieving, and highly disconnected from what actually mattered to me. That's the danger of this trap. It feels like you're making progress because you're in motion. But motion isn't the same as meaning. Parkinson's law says work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Translation, if you give yourself 3 hours to answer emails, it will take 3 hours. If you give yourself 30 minutes, you'll get it done in 30. But most of us fill our schedules with low impact tasks because they're easier to complete and easier to control than facing the bigger questions like, what do I really want? And why am I avoiding it? I remember looking at a week full of Zoom calls once and thinking, why does this feel like I'm running on a treadmill instead of building something real? It's because I was busy, but I wasn't aligned. Time trap number 2 is living by other people's expectations. This one is especially tricky because it hides behind things like success and status and being a good person. I spent years building a life that looked amazing on the outside, a respected career, financial stability, and achievements that people admired, but deep down, I knew I was performing someone else's definition of success. And the longer I ignored that feeling, the more numb I became. According to Gallup, 77% of people worldwide feel disengaged at work. That's not a skill problem. It's not a motivation problem. It's a misalignment problem. We're out here pursuing gold stars from systems and people who don't even know our name. The truth is, many of us were never taught to ask ourselves, what does success mean to me? So we adopt the scripts handed to us by culture, family, school, mentors, and then we follow them until one day we wake up feeling empty. And I want to say this, especially if you're in midlife. You're allowed to change the script. You're allowed to outgrow what once made sense. And you're allowed to redefine what a meaningful life looks like, starting now. Time trap number 3 is shrinking your dreams to fit your comfort zone. This one shows up as logic. It's the voice in your head that says, be realistic. Now's not the time. You've got too much on your plate already. What if you fail? When I first started thinking about leaving medicine to build something new, I was terrified. Not because I didn't believe that I had more to give, but because I was afraid to let go of something that was stable, respected, and familiar. But here's the paradox. The longer that I stayed in the comfort zone, the more uncomfortable I became. My soul was restless. My energy was flat. I was functioning, but I wasn't thriving. The comfort zone is only comfortable when you're not growing. Once you outgrow it, it becomes a cage. And sometimes the braver move isn't chasing a dream, it's stopping the slow leak of your potential. So ask yourself, are you shrinking your life to fit your comfort zone or expanding your comfort zone to fit your life? These 3 traps, productivity without purpose, living for others, and playing small, they are not your fault. They are the natural result of living in a world that values being busy over being present and values predictability over possibility. But once you see these traps, you have a choice. You can step over them or around them or straight out of them. And that's exactly what we're going to do in the next section. I want to talk to you about the 5-minute daily shift that gives you your life back. So now that you know what is stealing your time and energy, what do you do about it? Most people think that they need a radical life overhaul, a new job, a new plan, a new version of themselves. But here's what I've learned. You don't need a massive transformation. You just need to reconnect with yourself daily. You need a rhythm, a pause, a check-in that reminds you, I'm still here, I still matter, my life is mine. And for me, that all started with 5 minutes. I call this the daily alignment check-in, and it has genuinely changed my life. It's simple, it's doable, and it helps you stop drifting and start deciding again. Minute 1 is stillness. No phone, no podcasts, no input, just you and your breath. Even 60 seconds of silence can be a powerful interruption in the chaos of your day. I used to resist this part. I would open my eyes, reach for my phone, check a message, just peek at my calendar, and suddenly I was back in reactive mode. But when I started protecting this one quiet minute, I noticed something. I felt less rushed, less rattled, like I'd anchored myself before the waves of the day started rolling in. You can sit, you can lie down, you can stand at your kitchen counter with your hand over your heart. Doesn't matter. What matters is that you show up for it. Because when you silence the noise, even briefly, you make space to hear your own truth again. Minute 2 is ask these 3 questions. Grab your journal or just speak these questions out loud while you move through your morning. These are the questions that will just cut through the surface and get to the heart of what is going on. What am I pretending not to know? That thing your intuition keeps whispering, but you keep pushing away, this question pulls it to the surface, gently but directly. What am I avoiding out of fear? Is there a hard conversation that you need to have or a decision that you keep delaying? Fear loves vagueness. Naming it disarms it. What would my 80-year-old self want me to do today? This one shifts your entire perspective. She's wiser, clearer, and she's not worried about likes or inbox zero. These 3 questions bring you back to your inner compass fast. I once answered question 1 with, I'm pretending not to know that I'm settling. And just writing that down was like taking off a heavy backpack that I didn't realize I was carrying. Okay, so that's minute 2, just that quick check-in with those 3 key questions. Next, in minute 3, visualize your ideal day. Not your someday dream life, just one ideal ordinary day where you feel peaceful, purposeful, and you. What time do you wake up? How do you spend your morning? What kind of work lights you up? Who are you surrounded by, and how do they make you feel? This isn't about fantasy, it's about familiarity, because your brain needs a picture of what you're moving toward, not just what you're running from. When I first did this, I saw myself working fewer hours, creating content that actually helped people, walking in nature more often, and ending my day with a calm, connected family dinner. That wasn't my reality at the time, but it became my blueprint. And bit by bit, it started to come to life. All right, minute 4 is choose one bold move. Not a task, not a chore, a bold move. Something that stretches you and nudges you forward. Bold is personal. For you, it might be applying for the thing that you think that you're not ready for. It might be asking for help. It might be posting your truth online for the very first time. Courage doesn't need to be loud, but it does need to show up. When I started doing this, one of my first bold moves was saying no to a prestigious opportunity that didn't feel aligned anymore. It was terrifying and completely liberating. And it opened the door for the work that I was meant to do. So ask yourself every day, what's one brave thing that I could do today that my future self will thank me for? Minute 5 is set a daily identity anchor. This is the emotional tone that you want to carry into your day. It's like a word, a phrase, or a vibe. Think focused, magnetic, playful, light but powerful, unshakable. This is your reset button, your compass. Whenever the day starts to wobble, you come back to it. I have used this anchor before walking into challenging meetings, before filming, even before sitting down to write, and it shifts something in me fast because it reminds me of who I want to be, not just who I'm defaulting to. Don't underestimate this one. It might be the smallest step, but it's often the most powerful. So that's it. 5 minutes, 5 steps, 1 life that you are not sleepwalking through anymore. This isn't about being perfect. It's about getting honest and staying awake and choosing your path one micro decision at a time. Most people won't do this, but the ones who do, they don't just get more done, they get their life back. Okay, now I want to talk about what happens when you finally start doing this. Here's what happens when you commit to just 5 minutes a day of alignment. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You stop waiting for the right time and start creating the right conditions. And slowly but surely, your life begins to change. When I first started doing this practice, I was still working full-time, managing a household, raising my boys, and starting to run a business on the side. I didn't have time to find myself, but I did have 5 minutes. And that tiny window of intention, it gave me more clarity than any planner or productivity hack ever had. I realized that I wasn't actually overwhelmed. I was just misaligned. And once I began tuning in to the person that I was becoming, not just the things that I was doing, everything shifted. Here's what I noticed. I started saying no faster and more confidently. I stopped trying to be everything to everyone. I made bolder moves, sent the email, took the leap, and I felt more alive, not in some Instagrammable, live your best life kind of way, but in a quiet, grounded, I know who I am and what matters to me kind of way. That's what I want for you, not just to be more productive, but to be more present, not just to manage your time, but to reclaim your life. And the beautiful part, it starts with 5 minutes. So here's what I want you to remember. You don't need to change your whole life today. You just need to stop living on autopilot. Stop waiting for permission. Stop telling yourself that you'll do it later, because later has a cost. And the price is your peace, your purpose, and your joy. Imagine what would happen if you gave yourself 5 minutes a day to realign, to ask honest questions, and to choose bold action, and to remember who you are and who you're becoming. It's not just a habit, it's a lifeline. And if you're not sure where to start with you. I've created a free self-care checklist to help you to tune back into your own needs and energy and well-being. It's simple, powerful, and a perfect companion to the daily alignment practice that I shared in this video. You can grab it through the link below. But even if you don't download anything, do this. Tomorrow morning, take 5 minutes, just 5, and start living like your time is yours again, because it is. I'm rooting for you. I will see you in the next video. Oh, I forgot to light my candle. Let's just do that real quick. Okay, that's better. You just need to stop living on autopilot. And, oh, what's happening? Okay, I think the battery just died. It did. Okay.